As the Mountaineers get ready to begin Big 12 conference play against the Texas Tech Red Raiders, the Red Raiders find themselves mired in controversial comments from their head coach. Mountaineer Paul and I are going to talk about that, and we're going to preview the Mountaineers contest against the Red Raiders. So stick around, and we'll do that right after the end. What is going on, Mountaineer basketball fans? This is Couz.
And I am Mountaineer Paul.
And we present to you
Hoops from the Hills.
What's going on, everybody? Paul and I are back once again with another show for you. Today, we are talking about the Texas Tech Red Raiders game against our West Virginia Mountaineers, the 8 seed versus the 9 seed in the upcoming Big 12 tournament. That game will be played on Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Central, and will air on ESPN2 or ESPNU. I guess they haven't made a decision on that yet. But what we want to talk about first is the controversy that Texas Tech finds themselves in on the heels of this game. That is the Mark Adams stuff. Most of you have probably already heard about this, but for those of you who haven't, I'm going to share the article with you that actually has the quotes from Jeff Goodman, who actually broke the story. So here it says, Texas Tech suspends Mark Adams for slavery comment. Texas Tech announced Sunday that men's basketball coach Mark Adams has been suspended for what the university said was inappropriate, unacceptable, and racially insensitive comment he uttered to a player last week. And here's a direct quote from the university, or from Kirby Hocutt. It's actually from the university statement. On Friday, Director of Athletics Kirby Hocutt was made aware of an incident regarding a coaching session between Adams and a member of the men's basketball team. The statement read, Adams was encouraging the student athlete to be more receptive to coaching and reference Bible verses about workers, teachers, parents, and slaves serving their masters. Adams immediately addressed this with the team and apologized. Hocutt will conduct an investigation into how Adams interacts with his staff and players, the school announced. It's unclear how long he will remain suspended. And then the article keeps going. It says Adams spoke with Jeff Goodman of Stadium and related that he believes his comments were not racist. Adams claims he was quoting a Bible verse when he told one of his players that there is, quote, always a master and a servant, unquote. I was quoting the scripture, he said. Adams said he spoke to the team the next day after one of my coaches said it bothered the player. The family of the player told Hocutt of the incident last week, according to Stadium. Adams is also being investigated for an incident earlier in the season when he allegedly spat on a player. Adams told Stadium he had gone to the doctor and had a bad cough and slobbered on the player during the game. However, one person close to the situation said Adams responded, and I quote, I can spit on you whenever I want to, end quote, to the player per Stadium. And Adams told Goodman he did not remember saying that. So, there's the story. Paul, what are your thoughts, man?
Well, the second thing he did is unforgivable if he did spit on somebody. I don't know. It's tough when you don't have all the details. We're trying to parse through this, but as somebody who was raised in a Christian home and takes the Bible seriously, I think, you have to be more aware of the situation these days. And some of these kids have come from situations where maybe that wasn't the case or whatever. So if you've never been taught the Bible or know nothing about it, and a guy who's a millionaire and probably privileged in your eyes is telling you slave always serves its master, that sounds pretty bad. So, and especially, secondhand probably to the family. If he's telling his family, hey, this guy said a slave always serves its master, they're going to say, well, who the heck is running that place over there? Kirby Hocutt can't have that. Whether or not he personally agrees with it or not probably has little to do with it. But you can't have a situation like this arise in today's day and age when basically it's an arms race to see who can stay relevant. And whenever you could turn into a Baylor overnight, there's something like that can happen. And all of a sudden you're not desirable for conference expansion and you get left in the dust because you don't monitor your coaches like you should or whatever it could be. So looking at it from those angles, you can see why Texas Tech reacted with the quickness and swiftness that they did. But I can also understand where Adams was trying to come from. If indeed he's telling the truth and all that, we can only go what the article says. Right. If he was just quoting a Bible verse to the kid, I think I understand, but he has to be more aware. He just has to be more aware.
I agree. I agree with you, Paul. And you and I were talking before we got on air, and I think we agreed, but yet disagreed, kind of come at it from a different angle. But I do. I'm not happy with the political correctness that's going on in society today, necessarily. I think we're teaching kids to not be able to handle certain things, but at the same time, every one of these players come from different backgrounds. You've got some guys from other countries. You've got kids that may come from different religions, kids from different socioeconomic backgrounds. I mean, so you, even though I'm a Christian, you're a Christian, we both come from Christian families. Not everybody does, like you said. And coaches, when you're a coach, you have to be extremely cognizant of who you're around. You have to be able to read the room. And especially if you're at a public university. Now, if you're at a private university like Baylor, that's a Christian school, you can probably talk about God and read the Bible verse all you want to, right? Because it's a
Yeah.
private school, and kids come to that school knowing what they're coming into. Texas Tech, as far as I know, now somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's a public institution. So you've got to be a little more careful what you say and who you say it to, and just be more aware that you could be offending somebody, even though in your mind you might think, well, that's just political correctness. That's a bunch of BS. It doesn't matter what you think. You know what I mean? At the end of the
Yeah.
day, these are very impressionable young men, and you've got to be more aware of it, whether you like it or not. That's just the world we live in, man. And
Yep.
these coaches have to be aware of that. So I'm like you. I see both sides of it. I hope it doesn't ruin Mark Adams' career. I hope he's able to bounce back from it. Whether he ends up staying at Texas Tech or not, more than likely he won't. Something like this is hard to come back from. As far as how it's going to impact the game this week is another thing. It could go one of two ways. It could play to West Virginia's advantage because the team could be distracted, or what you and I have witnessed firsthand in our own as our own team did when they rallied around Bill Stewart in the Sugar Bowl, or I'm sorry, the Fiesta Bowl back in 2008. They could rally around whoever this interim coach ends up being. They could rally around this guy and end up playing their best basketball, So
Yeah.
you never know what's going to happen. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, we've already got an example and precedent for it in the conference already this season in Rodney Terry.
Right.
And Texas has played extremely well since the firing of Chris Beard. And so it's not like it can't happen. And really, if this was, let's say, the first time West Virginia and Texas Tech were going to play this year, I would say it would have a lot more chance to do some harm to Texas Tech. Being these teams have already played twice, close contests both times, a split between the two, you really can't get a much closer contest. On a neutral floor, does it give some advantage to West Virginia? Possibly. Don't know how instrumental Mark Adams was to the success of the Red Raiders on the floor. Maybe his staff had more to do with that. If that's the case, then it has nothing really to do with it. It's hard to say today because a lot of times you have, with coaches, you have certain coaches that rely really heavily on his assistants, and you got guys like Coach K, who, while he relied on his assistants, he was really instrumental a lot during in-game calls and thinking on the fly and certain things like that, orchestrating. You see guys like that too. And I've never really studied Mark Adams to know whether or not he's one or the other. But my gut tells me that this is going to have a small impact, but not a huge impact, I don't think. What do you think?
I honestly don't think it will either because, these assistants have been on the staff all year, maybe even the last 2 years.
Yeah.
The players, I'm sure, have tight relationships with them as well. And, Texas Tech pretty much has to win the Big 12 tournament to get into March Madness.
Yeah.
So they're probably going to be motivated regardless.
That's true.
And I think they'll rally around whoever the interim coach ends up being. I think the players will rally around them. I'm not saying Texas Tech will win the game necessarily, but I don't think it will affect their performance on the court. Maybe if you guys watching disagree with me, let me know in the comments. But I really don't think it'll impact their performance that much, at least not for one game.
Yeah, and while you're on that subject, guys, please drop a comment below and let's have a dialogue. Let's talk about this. How do you feel about Mark Adams and everything that's going on? Also, let us know about our comments. Do you agree or disagree with us? We'd love to debate that with you if possible. And also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, guys. We really appreciate that. We're on the road to 1,000. We really appreciate each and every subscriber. We value you guys. And don't forget to like the video as well. We really appreciate all the things you guys do for us, and we love to bring you guys content.
Absolutely. Thanks for that, Paul. Real quick, as we do this preview here, I'm going to share the team stats side by side here with these two teams. Obviously, Texas Tech 16-15 record, 5-13 in conference, are the number 9 seed in this tournament. West Virginia is 18-13 on the year, 7-11 in conference, the number 8 seed in the tournament. You've got Texas Tech averaging 73.7 points a game, West Virginia at 76.7. Defensively, Texas Tech's giving up 68.7, West Virginia's giving up 71.1. Field goal percentage, Texas Tech shooting 46%, West Virginia shooting about 45.5. Rebounds, Texas Tech's pulling down about 35 a game, West Virginia's about 30, almost 34 a game. Assists, Texas Tech's at 13, West Virginia's at about the same. Blocks, Texas Tech's at 2.9, West Virginia's at 3.1. Steals, Texas Tech's at 7.4, West Virginia at 6.6. And then Texas Tech obviously on a 3-game losing streak, and then West Virginia has 1-2 in a row over Iowa State, and then on the road at Iowa State, and then at home against Kansas State this past Saturday. So when you look at the stats, Paul, I mean, there's not a lot of separation between the two. Offensively, really is where West Virginia has an advantage. They're averaging about 3 more points a game than are the Red Raiders. So that's where I would give West Virginia the edge, really, would be on the offensive side. But as far as momentum goes, West Virginia's really got the momentum right now. They're really playing their best basketball of the season. And ESPN, as you see on the screen, has West Virginia as a 62.7% chance to win, with Texas Tech at 37.3% chance. So, Paul, what do you think about those stats, man?
Well, it's just well, yeah. I mean, it's just like I just said. I think this is a close. Listen, Texas Tech is a 20 to 25 game winner in any other conference. Let's just get that straight now. Right now, talent-wise, they deserve to be in the tournament. Unfortunately, that's not going to be this year. They at least have to win. What do you think? At least 3 games in the tournament to win it. And I don't even know, would that put them in the championship game, right? Or would that have them winning it?
3 games get you into the championship, yes.
Right. So you have to figure that at least have to make it there, and get to that 19 win threshold to even be considered. I would say from what I've read. So they had a lot of work to do, but they're a good basketball team, and could easily be in the same situation as we are, just barely in. So I know Bob Huggins isn't going to let them take them for granted. And as far as the differential in stats, the only thing I could possibly see is it looks like also their defense is just a tad better than Mountaineers as well, 68 points a game.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, they're a little bit better than us defensively, at least statistically, anyway. So it evens out if you think about it, right?
Yeah,
3-point differential on the offense for us and 3 points on defense for them.
Split game.
This is an even. This is an even game right here.
Yeah,
more than the records indicate. And of course, I mean, West Virginia's won 18 versus Texas Tech 16, but we've all seen these teams did split with each other in the regular season. You can make the argument that West Virginia should have won that first game, but they didn't. Texas Tech did. So, to me, it's splitting hairs, and I think this has got all the makings of a really tight basketball game. And I'll be honest with you, it'll surprise me if every game in this tournament's not tight. I mean, this is just such a good conference, man. Top to bottom, it's hard to find a better league than this one. And I expect every game to be tight and tightly contested, and I'm looking forward to watching it.
I am as well. Really excited about the momentum the Mountaineers carry into the tournament. We're 7-4 in our last 11 games. While that might not sound a lot in this conference, it's a lot. And I think the turnaround really started right after that Auburn game for me. I think that's when you saw this team really turn the corner. Coming into that, if you'll remember, just right before that, we had lost those 5 in a row. just imagine if we played like we had the rest of the way we should have in those first five. Even if we just split those, we're right there in the middle of the pack of the Big 12. It's hard to lay your eyeballs on that West Virginia team that played against Kansas State the other day and not project them as a possible Sweet 16 and beyond team.
Yeah.
If Eric plays like he played against Kansas State, shoots the ball like he did, Emmett plays like he did, and Trey chips in like he did, we are truly one of the hardest teams to beat in the conference.
I
We
agree
just
with you.
are.
I agree with you 100%.
And that's without an inside presence.
I agree with you. When you look at Kevin O'Banner's the leading scorer for Texas Tech. When you look at the individual players in this game, the key players, he's averaging 14.4 points a game as a senior forward for the Red Raiders, shooting 49% from the floor, 80.9% from the free throw line. Eric Stevenson, obviously, is the leading scorer for the Mountaineers. He's got his average up to 15.5 a game. When you look at rebounding, O'Banner is also the leading rebounder for the Red Raiders with 6.4 a game. So everything's going to run through him, man. Hopefully, West Virginia can kind of use the strategy they've used in a lot of games this year and get him in some early foul trouble. Get him out. If they can get him out off the floor, it really improves their chances of winning this game. But he's averaging 6.4 rebounds a game, and then Trey Mitchell's leading West Virginia with 5.3 a game. And then with assists,
oh, sorry,
that's okay. Kedrian Johnson's leading West Virginia with 3.3 assists, and Harmon is leading Texas Tech with 3.6 assists a game. Go ahead, Paul. What were you going to say?
I was just saying, a banner is really like I hate this term, poor man's, but he's like a poor man's Jalen Wilson, isn't he? When you think about Jalen Wilson's about 19-8, this guy's 15-6, or whatever it is. They're really similar players in that they're both 6'8", 6'9", both 220 pounds, both shoot and play a different similar style. I just that's kind of who I compare him to, just looking at him.
Yeah, and he can, he's not going to kill you from deep, but he can, he's shooting 32.2% from three too. So
that's respectable.
It is respectable for a man of his size. So
it's about what Trey shoots it, isn't it?
Yeah, somewhere in that range. Maybe I think Trey's slightly higher than that. Matter of fact, I'll just pull it up, but yeah, I mean he so you've got to respect his outside shooting is what I'm getting at. You can't just leave him open. Trey's shooting it 38% actually. So Trey's shooting it better than he is from three, but still, I mean 32% for a guy that's 6'8", 235. It's respectable.
Good.
It's respectable. You can't leave him open by any means. So, what do you think the keys to victory are for West Virginia in this game, Paul?
For me personally, I think rebounding is going to be big in this game, more so than others. I think second chance opportunities. Texas Tech plays really tight half court defense. So, I think personally, offensive rebounds will be big in this game, getting second chance opportunities for just in case it's a streakier game for the Mountaineers. But if we're shooting like we did over the weekend, I honestly don't think this game will be as close as we were just talking about. If we play up to our capabilities, I do think this is a game where the Mountaineers can win by 8 or 10. But keys to the game for me would be offensive rebounds, turnovers, and free throws. I've been harping on it all year. I'm going to keep on it because it's been a trend. And so we want the Mountaineers to turn it over as few times as possible while shooting a high amount of free throws because they've been making at a high clip. So absolutely. I think those would be good things.
I agree with you. I can't really – it's hard to argue with that. I also think West Virginia's ability to shoot from outside because their inside game has been
non-existent.
Not that good lately. I mean, they've gotten some points in the paint, but it's been mainly from Emmett and guys who are driving to the hoop more so
Eric.
than it is.
Been posting him up here lately.
Yep. Haven't gotten as much offensive contribution from the bigs like Jimmy and James and Mo, which Mo's been out injured and looks like he's probably going to be for maybe the rest of the year.
And they said Jimmy's been injured too, hasn't he?
Jimmy's been banged up. Yeah, I mean they're I think they're all banged up at this point in the season, to be honest. But some are worse than others. But obviously, I'm sure Jimmy's still going to get his minutes, and he will help the team in other ways. But when it comes to scoring, he's just not been doing that much. as of late.
No, that TCU game was the last game he really had that was good, wasn't it? Where he really
Yeah,
played well. He had close to 20 points, and he hadn't anything like that in a while, man. I'd love
but
to see
but
him.
but he has done a good job. He did a good job in that last game, at least on a couple possessions. I noticed he did a good job. When they started crowding him in the lane, he did a really good job kicking it out to the shooters and giving them open looks. So
Yeah.
even if he could just do that, and if our guys are knocking down shots, maybe that's his role, and maybe that's what he does. And of course, he'll pull down some rebounds for us, and he takes up a lot of space in there. That's
He
very
carves it
important.
out.
Absolutely. So with that all being said, at the end of the day, let's get into our score predictions. I think West Virginia. I think they're rolling. I think they're playing their best ball of the season. I think they're going to be motivated. I think Eric Stevenson's pissed because he got third team All Big 12. He's going to feel screwed, and he's going to come out like a man possessed, and he's probably going to drop about 25 on them. And I think when West Virginia gets that kind of production out of Eric, they're hard to beat, man. And because Trey and Emmett's probably going to chip in 10 or 15 themselves, maybe Keedy, and you're going to see this team. I think they're playing with a mission. They're going to want to They want to bring West Virginia their first ever Big 12 tournament championship, and they want to try to improve their seeding in March. So I think at the end of the day, West Virginia is going to win the game. I think it'll be close, but I think they win it by 5. I'm going to say they win it 77-72.
77-72.
Yes, sir.
That's a good prediction. What worries me is the last time we played them, Eric went for 27, and we lost 78-72.
Great point.
So it's odd that you said 78-72, didn't you?
I said 77-72.
77. So that's the score, the reverse last time when they won. That was the game when Katie had 20, and nobody else scored for us that day.
But
nobody.
Didn't we turn it over 20 times in that game?
I've got the stats right here. Close. We turned it over 14 times.
Oh, okay. One game we had,
but they killed us on the boards, 39-28, and 15 offensive to 10.
Yeah. So back to what you said earlier, rebounding is going to be critical in this game.
But obviously, the first game we destroyed them, right, 76-61. And looking at it, it was a much more balanced. That was the breakout Toussaint game, which was what I was about to mention. I think personally, and South Wilson had 15 that day. I remember that now. I like it better when Eric has a more moderate game. Let's say right around his average, 16, 18. And I would love to see it spread out just a little bit more. Emmett is obviously playing really well right now. And I think what's going to happen is you're going to see what happened on Saturday happen again. And let's get this going. Let's get this trend going where we have 4 Mountaineers or 5 in double figures. I'm going to call it. I say all 5 starters end up in double figures. That includes Jimmy Bell. Wow. I think that's what happens. I think Jimmy Bell's going to be really motivated.
Hot take, baby.
Hot take
alert. Hot take alert.
So all 5 guys are going to end up in double figures, at least 4 out of 5. And I think our guys are really motivated. We're going to try to move up our seeding. If we can win one more game, I think we can avoid maybe playing a Kentucky or somebody in the first round who, I'm not too fond of playing Sheboy in the first round personally, if you want to ask me. Not that I don't think we couldn't win. I didn't want to deal with that storyline.
Right. It'd be good. It'd probably be good for us as content creators, but as a fan, as a fan though, I don't. Yeah.
It brings up some negative stuff about Hugs again. That's the main reason I wouldn't want to.
Yep, I get it. I'm kind of with you on that. Well, guys, let us know what your score prediction is in the comments section.
Yeah, so I like the Mountaineers to win, and I like the Mountaineers to win pretty big. I think we win by, I'm going to say 80-68. 12-point win for the Mountaineers.
And they drop 80 on them. Okay, I like it. I like it.
I like our team right now, baby. Let's go.
All right, everybody.
I'm not a homer. I picked K-State over the weekend.
He did. So maybe, wait a minute now. Maybe you should pick Texas Tech. Just kidding.
We're so superstitious.
Whatever it takes to win, man. If you guys like Hoops from the Hills, show it by getting yourself a nice T-shirt. You can look like this guy, whoever that is. I'm putting you on a Hoops from the Hills t-shirt. Okay. It's in the Couz's Corner merch store, which we will put a link in the description box of the video. It's also in some of my Couz's Corner videos, but hit the link in this one and
And
check it out.
And if you're still here at 26 minutes in or so in this video, share this video with all your friends for us. We're trying to grow this thing. We're probably going to go into the tournament deep. At least we're hoping so. So if that's going to be the case, we'd really like to have this the audience, right, to be here for it.
With that being said, we are saying bye-bye for today, but we will see you again soon. We're out.